How's it going, guys? This is me, myself at home here, and welcome back to another lovely video in FL Studio. This one is going to be for my breakdown of Be Concerned by 21 Pilots. If you have not seen the... Get out of here. If you have not seen the actual video, you can click this, the words on the bottom left there, and it'll take you to the actual video where you'll hear the whole song from beginning to end, and you won't have to hear me flap my gums. I do these because people showed an interest of seeing the individual parts and stuff. So let's begin. So as many of the that keeps expanding, but I don't know why every single time I click here it's like, hey, you want us to show the patterns, right? No, I don't actually. Like most of them I do, I have the actual song, which I cannot play, but it's literally the actual song just from my computer up in the top, and I listen to it thousands of times, and then I get really sick, and then I don't do one for 6 months, as you can see by, I think it's been a year actually. I think it's been a year since the last time I did one. It couldn't have been. I think it's pretty much 6 months though. So you'll see if you go back and look at the last one I did. I'm pretty sure that was 6 months ago. It'll be on the screen somewhere. Alright, so pattern number 1. So in this one, if you listen to it, there's the opening. The opening, it's kind of like a Dreamy Bells kind of thing. If you go and listen to the actual song, that'll be on the screen too. So I decided to go with boop 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 boop. No, we'll start with the main opening melody with the Tibatron from Citrus. Because it sounds nice and it has a dreamy. It was under what is it under? It's under the it's under, oh, there we go. It's under the bells. So you have Tibatron, you have a whole bunch of other stuff. You have this one. Hold on. There you go. You have the Taco Bells. There you go. Then you have the classic church organ piano, and then regular piano, and then modified. And this is not going order. And then you have glass, which was another one that I had debated for this one, because with the glass it sounds like this. But there's a lot of like high-pitched stuff going on, and I want it to be more and there's also the Dream Bell one. That also has a lot of really high-pitched ones in there, and since I'm going to be doing this at a super high one, I've decided to go with something that has a lot more bass in the actual notes when they're produced. So this one's just more of a clean cut. I had played around with doing the Tibatron and the glass, or the Tibatron and the Dream Bell, but whatever. I kind of settled on this one. You know, we got our thing here. This one is the only one with in the mixer here that doesn't have something attached to it. So each single one has something attached to it, except for this one, because adding reverb to this sounds exactly the same as it would otherwise. So I decided to, just, it doesn't really make a difference if I add it on there or not, because you can't tell because of how much it echoes and the lowness of it in general. It carries because bass notes carry longer than high notes, which is why you can hear people blasting songs in their car with all the windows rolled up and all you hear is the bass. It's one of the reasons. So that starts out, it's I was trying to think of what the hell oh shit, what did I just do? The key would be, but I have no clue. It's A sharp, and there's, on some of the other ones later on, there's D sharp and C sharp and stuff. So that's the basic melody, and then you have, for the ending of the secondary melody, that's pretty much it. There you go. And then you have the octave, whereas that one was like 4 and stuff. This one, if now I switch over to here, this one's 5. It's just an octave up, and then it just sounds like this. Which is why I chose this one, because all the low stuff, when you bring it up an octave, isn't like shrill and high pitched like all the other ones were, because they already have a lot of high notes and stuff added into the regular low hits. So you see, it's so here it's. So that's the second one. So the low one I used for in the actual song, when it's the person like going and then the other one when I use, it's for just like the music that's doing that pattern. That's doing that pattern. It's just the music. So I use the high one for that and the low one for the actual like singing parts. I figured that made the most sense. So on this one, this is 5. So on this one I have the fruity reverb. So without it, it sounds like. And then if you add it on there, it's. So I reduced the dry, because if you put it on there again, it just sounds not like much. You can kind of hear it because now it's higher, but it still doesn't have that same effect. So I reduced the dry down to 66%, and I'm just using the standard fruity reverb. If you've never watched any of these before, I generally use like a lot of stuff that comes with the program. I have a lot of default stuff, and I work with that to make it sound good over the, I guess, years at this point, and over all of them that I've done, I've added some stuff. Now I have more guitars and stuff like that. I've added some stuff, but nothing like really crazy that makes it sound like an actual instrument. So it's all been focused around taking the stock stuff and making it sound good, which is pretty hard. All right, so now we get into this. Okay, this part here with the this comes in, it fades in. I figured I could put these like I usually do. I usually put all the envelopes for the volumes and everything right over the patterns, but for stuff like this where it's the drums, and I literally just count it out instead of doing it on the sequencer. I count it out on the actual field, the playlist. Count it out on the actual playlist so that I can get it exactly where I want, and I'm not restricted to just 16th notes, because there are some things that are triplets that are offbeat and things of that sort. So it looks really bad having something like this underneath, because they're not obviously wide enough to cover all the red underneath, so it just looks really stupid. So I decided to just put them all down below. So right here down at the bottom is the strings one. So I have it start off, like at a 13, and then go all the way up to where it ends with the bass note. I had debated just starting off from 0, but then you barely get any of the first note and like half of the second one, and I want you to be able to hear, like, I still want it to fade in. That's why I moved it over. Originally it was just to here, but I wanted a nice slow fade in, and if I didn't want to start at 0, I'd have to do other stuff with that. So this one is just the basic FL strings. It's comes in. Can you go away? There you go. It comes just with the, I hate when it keeps closing stuff like that. It comes basically with just the standard. It's under Legacy and under no, it's under Orchestral, and it's just the FL strings right there. Oh my god, it's so annoying. Yeah, it's gonna keep doing that. Whatever. I'll just scroll down. So I'm starting off with just the there we go. Just the D sharp. Here's where the D sharp comes in, and then it's F sharp, F, and then G. And then I go A sharp, D, C. Whoops. So they're nice long notes. Originally there's a piano right here, like where you see right here, this is where the piano comes in. Originally there's piano at the beginning of the song, and I figured, you know, there's gonna be piano right after it, so I want to do something else. So I decided with a good old violin, make it sound nice and legato and stretched out, and have some long sustaining support to it. So I have this nice, the bass notes, and then then you go into this. Then you go up. Originally I had wanted to do that, but it doesn't sound correct. So I raised it up. Alright, moving on. So now pattern 5, like I showed you, that's the high version. So the top ones are the low ones, and the bottom one down here is the highs. So then you go into all of this stuff right here, and I'll just go over all of this right now. So the first one is the kick drum. So what I do with the kick drum is that it's a combination of this and this. So that's the basic kick when you load up a new project. Bam! There's like kick, hat, snare, and clap. This is the one that's in there when you first open it up, and it was just a placeholder. And I decided it really doesn't sound that great. It doesn't fit with all the other instruments, quote unquote instruments, that I have in the song. So I decided to go with stuff from the Legacy down here, the real drum kits. So then you get something that sounds like this instead of so it's a nice full sound to combined with that. And then for the snare, I just use the real snare, the standard real snare down there. Oh, it's this one. Whatever. There's a standard real snare again from the real drum kits. Keep scrolling. Browser auto frozen. There we go. Christ. I had that fixed on the other one where it wouldn't auto scroll. I'll figure that out eventually. But it's basically just the snare of it. Originally I had the original kick, like when you loaded up the original snare, and this one on top of each other, but they didn't sound great together, so I ended up just opting for that. And this is just the boop. It has a bass boost, so it doesn't do much. So instead of this, it sounds like this. This is a tiny bit. And the same with the the same with the kick I did. So we have the kick on 3, which is actually the cymbals, because or else it would sound like this. And that sounds really flat and computer generated and shit. So if you add that on, it's just the default settings right there. It sounds alright. And then with the bam, where is it? With the real kick, I have the reverb. So you have that, just the standard settings again, and then reverb, and then the bass boost. So adding the bass boost to the original kick made it too overpowering, and it was just like bass thumping in your ear. So it kind of brought back the original problem I had with just using the standard kick. So I was like, all right, whatever, get out of my face. All right, so the next hats, they're both on 3. They're both the real hats, but alone. Like, it sounds like that. It's not very great when you play it over and over and over again like it does in the song. So then you get that, and then you get this. Really flat, really mic'd up, tiny room. So you get that. And so on these, I had to go out and, is this the one I had to? No, this wasn't the one I had to trim. So this is just the normal one. And then this one, no, never mind. I was thinking of something else. So these are just the standard ones I didn't do anything to. We'll get to these hats, which is the ones I changed. So then you just you get this. They're raised up because in the song the pitch is a little higher, so I'm like, all right. So instead of, or you get a little mix of both to try to even that out. So we already went over 4 and 5. Whoops. All right, and we went over the strings. All right, so now you get this thing right here. Oh fuck. Then you get scrolling up, and then you get to the snare and the hat. Now we'll go down to the hat here, which again still has just the reverb on it. So instead of sounding like that, it has some carry to it. And I had to adjust the quick fade out because originally it sounds like this. Well, and that's not what I want it to sound like. So, oh, it doesn't undo those. I forgot. Some knobs it undoes, some other knobs it doesn't undo. So, you know. So, because I don't want the closed hat at the end, so I had to trim it so that it sounded like, you know, and it just fades out right before the, right before that, because that would be these right here. All right, so then we move on to the other hat, which is hat 2, which has the same thing applied to it. Whoop. Same thing applied to it, which I forgot it's not in there. It's just the waveform on the thing, which I keep forgetting. And then again, originally it sounds like that. So you're like, all right, whatever. Just get that out of my face. So now those are the 2 that I've had to change. And then you have this, which was the one that I had debating on using instead of this. But with the hits here, it sounds much more natural to have that, and then instead of, you know, having, because they're not the same pitch, and whenever I tried to adjust the pitch, it always sped it up, and it did weird things, and I couldn't get it the way I wanted. So I was like, you know what? Go fuck yourself. I'll just do this, and it'll be great. So I opted to do that. All right. So now back to this part. So you get all of this. You go boop boop boop, doot doot doot, and then you get the strong bass, and it fades out, and that's literally just low. Like, so that one, I wanted a low one. That one doesn't even, you can't even hear that when I pumped it all the way up. So we go a nice cello sound from the from that there. Again, with the Fruity Reverb, they all have that, and all of them are the default settings except for the one I showed you earlier, the Tibetron, that had it decreased down to 66. Right, so there's that. All right, moving on to the piano right here. So this part, which originally is where, like I said earlier, originally is where the beginning violin part is, but I wanted to distinguish each part, so it's just chords, A's. So it's A sharp all the way through until you get to, when you go back down. So it's just beats, and then it's every two once you get to here. So when you come back in with the violin, because there's two sorts of pianos here, and I wanted to break it up. So that same thing. I used Piano 1, which is just a free piano add-on thing that I downloaded. Whoops. Again, Fruity Reverb, same settings. Whole dealio. Alright, so we'll move on to 9, which is the secondary whoops, piano part, which is in the song. There's this arpeggio, like dream bell kind of like I have for the main melody, piano in the background, but the dream bell kind of thing was going on at the same time, so I needed to distinguish it. And like I said, the other ones had a lot of highs in them, and I wanted it to be in the background, so I just ended up just using Piano 1, cloned it onto there, onto there, same thing, defaults, and it starts as just D C, A sharp, and then it goes up to D sharp, D C, and then back down one, and then back down from the original. So this is the last one. The standard stuff as far as arpeggios go. All right, so couple few things left that are not on the step sequencer. So obviously when you create an audio animation clip, if you've done this in FL Studio, it starts it all the way at the beginning, so that you can you can't just pick and choose where to go. It has to span the whole thing, or you'll just get really confused. So here at the end with the arpeggio, it was a little loud by itself, because there isn't a lot going on in the background like where the other one is. There's all the other parts going at the same time, so I lowered it a bit, and here at the end they all fade out, and the drum, the whole drum kit thing fades out, but the main melody and the sound familiar? I'll get to that in a second. Probably not, but that stays like constant volume, so these all fade out and everything else stays the same. All right, so moving on to this one, this automation clip right here, this green one. Alright, so this is the kick mute solo one, which I used for this kick right here. So you'll see it's off right now because I had it right in there. And that is because I have this actual knob, the on-off one, to this automation clip right here, because in the main parts, you know, it's there, and then you get to this part right here where everything drops off and it's just the main melody in the background, and all the drum things are now farther away. It sounds like they're all farther away and they echo more and they're more damp. So I accomplished that in the kick drum by just turning off one of the kicks. So it sounds like this. Again, instead of... There you go. That's all that is. It's an on and off, even though you can do degrees of on, but it doesn't turn on until you go all the way to 100%, and it doesn't turn off until you go all the way to 0. So that cuts out in this section. I'm motioning my hand on the screen like you can see. This section right here until everything comes back in, and then it drops off again here and it stays off. Alright, so one last final thing. This part right here, we have these lovely things right here. So you get to this part, and solo. And all you hear is, when everything drops off into the background, you hear like a staticky, like spray bottle kind of thing, echoing, like going off once and then echoing in the background. So I searched for about an hour trying to find audio clips of spray bottles that sounded like that. No dice. I didn't even try like static noises because this was a combination of like static and spray bottle, so those went out the window. So then I recorded for about, I don't know, maybe like 15 minutes, I think it was. I tweeted about this earlier, shameless plug if you follow my Twitter. Well, not earlier, a couple days ago, that I don't know what's crazier, that I spent 15 minutes recording my voice on the microphone, trying to get something that sounds like this, or that I listened to it back a couple times, the whole thing, trying to get this. So eventually I got one that was like that kind of sound, that was like spray bottle, kind of staticky, and I just duplicated it. So we have one here that's basically spray 1, which is at 1 volume, and then spray 2, which is at a different volume. So you got here spray 1, and then you have spray 2 is 10, so 9 and 10. They're both all the way up, but they're slightly different volume-wise, so that it gives off the effect that it's actually echoing in the background without me having to actually add any effects onto there, because this would have been much more complicated. In some parts of the song, you can hear like a third one echoing, but since there's not going to be singing over it, it would be really, really noticeable to not always have the third echo, so I decided to just not have a third echo. So the original... So the original sound is this. Again, with the reverb added to it, is me going over and over again until I got this. I tried, well, my nose is stuffy now, so I can't do it. I tried inhaling, exhaling, coughing, literally anything I could think of to get a sound that sounded like this. And I eventually got one and just trimmed ended up just trimming the sound file out. So instead of this, you have this. And there's an abrupt end to it, so instead of this, where it drags out, you have, and then this, I just duplicated spray 1 into spray 2, and that just has the audio effect of reverb on it. So that would be all of the parts fine and dandy here for Be Concerned by 21 Pilots. Awesome band. Love all their music. Thank you so much for watching. I will be sure to do another one of these in the next 6 months. That's the running joke, because I do like one and I get almost done, and then I get so frustrated with it that I don't do it for another 6 months. I have maybe like 12 that are really, really close to being completed, but I'm just so frustrated because there's one last thing in there that I can't get, because I listen to it just thousands of times, because there's never any good like tablature or sheet music or source material on the actual song. So I'll let you know that this part right here, the piano 2 part, where it arpeggios up and down and 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 up and down. That was like a good 3 hours trying to just get that couple seconds. There's another one, and the other 21 Pilots song that I'm doing that is exactly like that, but I've spent 5 hours on it, and I only have like a fourth of it done, and it's 3 times as long. That's why these only come out like every 6 months, because I just get so frustrated because they're dumb, and I'm bad at this. Like, people see these and they're like, wow, that's really good. I'm like, I'm really like a wannabe amateur. I wouldn't say that. I'm like an amateur at this. This is like 12 years of playing music and just listening to stuff over and over again until my ears bleed. Anyone can do that. It's not fucking hard. You just press notes, and if it sounds the same as the thing on the recording, there you go, there's one of your notes, and then you move on to the next one. Time consuming as fuck, but that's the way you do it when you don't know what you're doing. There are easier ways to do this for people who are actually good musicians. I am not one of them. So thank you so much for watching. This has been me as myself at home, signing out. Peace out, guys.